But I really want to kick off with this idea. So I'm living in South Africa, and I have been since 2001. And in 1997, I had a dream, a vision of a peaceful and prosperous South Africa that works for all people. And I was young and idealistic, and I had attended a personal development course where the lights kind of came on for me. And I saw what was possible, free from my own past, my inhibitions, what society expected of me, what was possible, what wasn't possible. And I came back to South Africa, I sold everything, and I came back here. And I started a project called PHISA, Phisa, which is actually a Xhosa word for to give, which means to give freely and to expect nothing in return. And so the acronym became Peace here in South Africa. Perfect. And we got together and we met a group. I got together a group of around 30 people, and we got in a circle in a room, and we shared our experiences and our stories about South Africa and our experiences, and it was magical. We had advertising. We had an advertising agency executive alongside a domestic worker, alongside an unemployed young man from Crossroads, and elderly wise women who'd been in the Black Sash, and the whole business owners, and so on and so forth. And it was miraculous. The connection was extraordinary. And buoyed and enthusiastic, we set the next date in a month's time to go out, not just to talk, but to go out and meet people and do stuff and come back and bring them and share more stories. And the idea was that there would be lots of circles, and it would grow and grow and grow around South Africa. And a little bit like mini truth and reconciliation commissions, an opportunity, which was a process we had in South Africa, which was a very, very unfortunately miraculous process, but one that was for a very short space of time. And I think the greatest opportunity we've ever had as a nation to heal. Because the truth is that South Africa is an utterly traumatized nation. What does that mean? Well, go figure, right? I mean, look at the violence, look at the poverty, look at the unemployment, look at, right? However, South Africa is something else, baby. It is something else. And that's why I'm still here. And what I believe is that what we have in South Africa is something so remarkable. We have connection. We have adversity. We have the daily challenges of someone being broken into, robbed, raped, murdered. It's just overwhelming. But if we look beyond that to the spirit of what's possible, to the spirit of who people are. In South Africa, I meet people and their first response is just like, okay, that's me as well. I take responsibility for that. But people in South Africa are very, very quick to connect. Now, let me go back to this circle, right? So we had the first circle, and it was amazing. And then we had the second circle. And I was picturing, wow, if there's 30, God, we've got to hire an even bigger venue because they're going to be 40 or 50. It was exactly half. 17 people showed up. And I was a little disappointed because I thought, what happened? You know. And then the next month, half again, 8. Next month, half again, 4. And finally, it was myself and one other person. And I just said, can't do it. You know, I wasn't really earning very much, but I was putting so much energy into this. And my wife, then girlfriend at the time, said, you know, what are we going to do to pay the bills? Right? And she was quite right, you know, because there's the journey of spirit and purpose. And there's also, as the title of the book goes, after, what is it? After transformation, something like after transformation or after enlightenment, the laundry. So we need to put the laundry on. It doesn't just miraculously do itself. But the thing is, I've never given up on this bloody vision. I've just constantly, I don't know, maybe it kind of morphed into me just saying, fuck it, I'll do it on my own. Not fuck it, I'll do it on my own, but more like, I can control what I can control. So I'm just going to love people. And so I connect. Someone said to me the other day, they observed me and they said, you see people, you have them be seen. And I do. And I think that there's healing in that. And there's even more healing. So let me just go back to the trauma. You might be listening to this and thinking, what trauma? Your demographic might be living in Constantia or Bishop's Court or some privileged area. You might be watching this living in Khayelitsha or Crossroads or Manenberg, and you're thinking, yeah, I know all about trauma, because you deal with it every day. It's right there in front of you. In this privileged suburbs that we live in, like mine, with a nice, high wall, I can just manage it. I'm in a nice suburb and it's all very comfortable. So what's the solution? You see, apartheid was devastating. I would say is devastating. I was speaking with someone once comparing the Holocaust with apartheid, a black person. And she said apartheid was worse, a black South African. And I said, really? Why? She said, the Holocaust was culmination of basically 6 years of the Second World War, and then it stopped. Of course, there's huge trauma in Germany, I judge, as well, still, because it's intergenerational. One follows the other. In South Africa, it was a long period of time, a couple of decades. What was it, 47 to 90 on paper, 47 to 94, let's say. What's the unmentionable here? What's the thing that we need to do? Well, we need to face it. We need to face it. Because unless we face the demon, it's never going to go away. What does face it mean? Well, the regime of apartheid was managed and run by who? White people. Now, as an English-speaking person, right, it wasn't me. I was only a child, and I'm not Afrikaans, because the really bad people were the Afrikaans people, right? And by the way, I was born in England. My mother's South African. We moved to Durban in 1970 until 1977. I left when I was 10, but those were significant years, and that's partly what formed my identity as a person. Very deep experiences, and I had a couple of experiences with black people where I was convinced as a child I was going to die. Reckless behavior that I thought was normal. One was I was with a group of friends. I was dared to fill a plastic bag full of water, wait behind a tree. The next time the person comes along the street, run out, smash the bag at them, throw it at them, and run. Well, I'd have done anything just to be part of the gang. I did. And I remember, I'm not going to go into too much of the detail. This black man came walking along the road. I smashed the bag with his feet and ran. And he caught up with me like very quickly. He got his hand on the back of my neck and he thrust me down into the ground. And he said the words, "If you ever do that again, I'll kill you." I can remember that to this day. If you ever do that again, I'll kill you. And I remember thinking, what the hell do I do here? It was a split of a second. And I came up with a strategy, a survival strategy, which was be nice to people for the rest of your life and be particularly nice to black people. Otherwise, they're going to kill you. And that formed a huge part of my identity. And I became this, um, fucking liberal, inverted, racist person who was so nice to Black people. So English are really good at, we're so nice. We make you feel nice, but we make you feel bad about being nice so that we can be nicer than you. And that informed a huge part of my identity. So when I came back to South Africa, it was to heal my past, my wounds of being a young white boy who didn't know any better, but carried wounds. Because it affected my relationship with Black people, therefore, it affected my relationship with people. I was listening to a podcast the other day with Neil Donald Walsh, who wrote Conversations with God, good as well. And he said, he was being asked in a podcast, what is the biggest problem we face in the world? And he said, separation. It's the other. So as long as, and that's the job of the ego, right, is to separate. Look after myself, watch other people. It's a survival mechanism, right? The ego is, it gets a lot of bad press. We need to get team on board, ego, and manage it, right? But the ego is a simple survival process. When we were in caves, it made sense to be like, that's enemy, that's friend, and that's how we operate in our day-to-day life. But in this modern, comparatively safe world that we live in, we don't have bears and saber-toothed tigers, but we do have the equivalent in the modern day world. Where was I? Yeah. So separation. That's the problem. We're separate. I'm better than you. My religion's better than yours. I'm prettier than you. You're prettier than me. You're more successful than me. I'm more successful than you. It's all bullshit, right? Because actually what counts is spirit. Our together. What does spirit mean? Our togetherness, our connection with people. I deliberately try and put myself in slightly uncomfortable positions, whether it's meeting someone who I don't like or wearing bare feet in the cold. It's quite cold, but just having a cold shower, just these little bits that remind me to be a little bit on the edge, because the reality is our world for me is getting safer and safer, trying to be safer and safer and safer. More walls, more comfort, more warmth, more heat, more appliances, more AI, chat GPT. It's all fucking bullshit, right? It really is. Because all of that stuff is all noise that gets in the way of our connection with each other. I've asked Black people, what do they want from white people? The answer's always the same. I just want to be acknowledged. I just want you to acknowledge what happened. I know you weren't responsible for it. I know you were a child of that generation. The parent was your parents, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. We are all wounded. We are all traumatized. How do you know you're wounded and traumatized? Well, go be free. Take down the walls. Open your gate. Open your door. See what happens. No fucking way, right? See, until we do that, until we tear down the walls and open our hearts, we will never be free. We will always live in a traumatized society, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse, right? But it can get, from this moment on, it can get better and better and better. I think it's getting better and better and better. Why? Because I'm here in my experience of myself. So, and I also spoke to a beautiful young guy who I met on the weekend from the Northern Cape. Very simple in the most honoring of ways. Afrikaans man, lived on a farm. I loved the way he spoke English. It was quite unlike any way that an Afrikaans person has spoken English. And he was saying, what was he saying? Yeah, he was talking about his culture and how he, in a lot of Afrikaans communities, there's embarrassment about being Afrikaans. And that's just so sad, because Afrikaans is it's the only culture of its type in the world. It needs to be honored, to be appreciated. That can happen when there's healing. That can happen. That can happen when there's healing. When we sit around in a circle and we talk, and we share our hearts, and we forgive each other, and we love each other. So I'm not giving up. Oh, that's right. Yes. CJ, his name was. He said, so many foreign people love coming to South Africa and I said, to live and work. I said, why do you think that is? He said, because it's exciting. You know, he said, because you can be free. Be free. I said, say more. He said, well, because the rules aren't like Europe, you know, you can be free. You have the consequence of the possibility of, you know, being burgled and violence and this and lawlessness, but you can be free. And I thought, you really can be free. This is an amazing country. I mean, it's fucked up, but it's extraordinary. And I love it. You know, and fuck, I don't know what's going to happen to me. I could get gunned down in my fucking driveway. Well, you know what? So fucking what? Really? So what? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You know, death is this fear of death we have. So how bad can it be, right? Because we die. Eventually we die. However we die. And if we don't die, what's the phrase? You know, whatever we can't handle. God doesn't give us what we can't handle, or what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, you know? It's not like stronger, like, fuck you. Like, it's just stronger, just more wise, more open, more connected with spirit. I don't know if you're still watching this. I don't know how much longer I'm going to go on for. Could be another few minutes or an hour. 3 hours. Oh, shit. I don't think much. Just want to say thank you for watching this. I appreciate your attention, and join me in doing nothing other than opening your heart and opening your brain to seeing beyond the matrix of division, of separation, of fear, of poverty, of violence, to the heart, the golden heart of who you are and who people in this country are. I'm talking about this country, but of course it's a microcosm of the planetary experience. Don't listen to other people's opinions. Don't listen to my opinion. Listen to your heart's opinion. Go for walks in the forest. Go to the beach. Go to the hills. Go to the mountains. Spend time on your own. She teaches you. That's God, in my view. She's teaching you all the time, and it's a she in this moment, not a he. So nurturing, so loving. And we don't have to live on a beggar's rationing of food. There is so much on the table. We don't have to scratch around on the floor. So poverty, yeah, that's all a consequence of the lack of healing. It's all the same. Lack of healing, lack of connection. It's all a consequence of the lack of connection. That's what I'd say. I love you, even if it's one person watching this. You, personally, thank you. I feel the connection with you listening and watching this. And I wish you all the best. Please drop me a note in the comment section. I love feedback. I'm not the communicator. Some people they communicate. They don't really care if people come back. They know that the message has landed. I haven't graduated to that extent yet, because I love getting feedback. And I want to also say, and I'm going to just find it as we speak, or give you the sentiment. I won't need to find it. So the truth passes through, I can't remember who it was who said this, truth passes through three phases. First, it is adored. Then it is rejected and I think the word is vilified, hated, scorned upon, and then it is accepted as truth. So if you think about things that have happened, the motor car is a classic example, right? Horse-drawn cart, smelly, noisy thing with pumping fuel everywhere. Oh, disgusting, and then, sorry, go the other way around. So first it's like, wow, it's amazing. And then it's like, oh my God, it's disgusting. And then now it's accepted as truth. And there are gazillions of cars around the planet now, electric cars. I mean, who would have thought, right? That's what's possible in the world. All the stuff that we fear, it's all a front, fears of, AI, I'm hearing more and more terror around AI and how it's going to lead us, to the abyss. It's like, maybe not. We don't know. But that's the point. We don't know. So all we can do is be present in the moment, do what we need to do, extend our hearts, open our gates, metaphorically and otherwise. And here's an important point: men and women, right? And there's a Cherokee Indian saying that says, the highest purpose that a woman has is to lead her man to his source. The highest power of a man is to protect a woman so that she is free to walk the earth. And I think when a woman, and I'm talking, in these days of transgender, and that's a thing. It's not, that's another conversation we need to have, because it's real and we need to accept it. We need to look at it. And the reason why it's becoming a fucking thing is because we're not listening to each other. We're not accepting each other. And it becomes this, yet again, another division for us. It's a real fucking thing. If I was transgender and you called me a man or a woman, I'd be fucked off with you. I would be so angry, and there's so much anger around us. So get over your shit about wokeness and all that stuff and meet people as you find them. Love them. Open your heart to them. Listen to them. If they want you to call X, call them fucking X. Who gives a shit, right? Relationship 101 is give the other person what they want with no expectation. And we live in a much, much safer, better world. So with men and women and, men, we've lost our purpose, haven't we? Like the way we find fulfillment is in purpose, getting our hands on shit, right? And now we're into therapy, and there's nothing wrong with therapy. I do therapy frequently, but, we need to find purpose. We need to, it's when we do stuff, when we're shoulder to shoulder with other men and we get in circles and we do stuff together and we jump about, we jump in cold water and we build fires or whatever your version of that is, that's really important, because when we're fulfilled in our purpose, we can then protect our women. Jesus Christ, our women need protecting. And here's the golden piece of it all, is that when we look after our women, they give us the keys to the kingdom. They can relax. And they can give us these beautiful gifts of this incredible feminine energy and sensuality and sexuality. And they can oh man, if you want great sex, right? Just look after your woman. Right? I have not done a good job of this in my life. And I'm learning this now, because I didn't witness any of that. So, call to action. Can you do something? Yep. I suppose it's the usual thing. Just please forward this to people if you think it's worth sharing.